Congratulations on the new deal,
Thank
Scott.
you. Yeah.
Easy decision for you to extend?
Yeah, I mean, my intent was to be here as long as I possibly could. They also understood that too, and um, I'm just extremely humbled and excited. I told Simon this morning, I've been fortunate to sign a lot of contracts, some longer, some shorter, some more money, some less money. This was by far the most impactful for my family and myself to sign this contract. My wife and daughter last night were through the moon. When they came here, they saw what was being built here, and it was very emotional for me.
Obviously, you've missed your family and stuff. Is there contingencies in place for that? Is your wife coming out, or are you
Yeah,
going to
well,
go get home
yeah,
before?
yeah. I get to go home obviously here in June and spend some time back there and regroup, and then yeah, my wife will be in market most of the seasons moving forward. My daughter obviously has a job and will be in and out when she can, but um, yeah, they were just through the moon, excited as I am obviously to continue this, and I want to thank the board, Simon, for the support he's had, and obviously our ownership with Larry Katzelman has been off the charts. So it's been quite the journey. The sponsors have been incredible. The people of Tasmania have been so welcoming. And this is, I said a long time ago, a dream job, and that's absolutely what it is.
You negotiated a pretty good time off the back of an excellent season.
Well, I think it's just life and timing and where you're at and what's going on. And sometimes you're in better positions than others. And um, again, this was something that I was very passionate about when I took the job of trying to build something here for the entire state. And obviously, it was a fairy tale of a season, but we have so much more work to do.
Did negotiations start and finish this week after the end of the season, or have they been going for a little bit?
We've had some conversations here and there, and as the season was winding down, it got a little bit more serious about moving forward. So it was kind of right on track of what was going on.
And what were the things that you wanted, I suppose, as a coach in your contract, and the things that convinced you to stay
I
and
mean,
extend?
yeah, the biggest thing for me was the long term of the longevity of being here to actually stay here and build this, and knowing that I would be here for a few years and that this wouldn't be a one-hit wonder and I'm out, or two-hit wonder and be out. I wanted to be here for a few years. I wanted to make sure that I put my footprint on this club in this state of building something that was going to be sustainable long after I'm gone. And I've said this before. We woke up a sleeping giant, and now we just got to keep it awake and continue to build within this state and continue to inspire our kids to play and make this as good as we possibly can.
What were the extent of some of the offers coming in from elsewhere, and was there any serious consideration about?
Well,
taking
they're
them up?
always serious when someone is offering you money or time or whatever it may be. I never wanted to leave here, but in reality, it's the sports world, and things are happening left and right with players and coaches, and they knew all along that this is where I wanted to be, and I wanted to be here long term, and that's what happened.
We saw an example of your popularity just before. How special is it for you to see the next generation in Tasmania recognising you, and how important is that grassroots aspect for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the number one things of trying to build this for the entire state, and you know, just walking around the last few weeks here and there, and just people in supermarkets or here in the park, they'll recognize you from what you've done. It obviously wasn't me; it was the players and my coaches really that have driven this thing through, and to be recognized like that, and hopefully inspire kids to get back in onto the basketball court and make this sport the number one sport in Tasmania. Yeah, it's fantastic to see, and like I said, the people of Tasmania have been just off the charts. And it was one of the first things my wife and daughter said to me. Within 2 or 3 days, she said, you can't leave here. And they felt that right away. And it resonates with, obviously, my values and what I believe in. And yeah, I'm stoked.
So you would say that your wife and your daughter were a core part of you putting pen to paper on this contract?
Yeah, because, I obviously this is a point where in my career where my wife can actually be with me for a longer extended time, and where they're comfortable, I'm comfortable, and where their hearts are is where my hearts are. And being away from them for so long was difficult. But when they got here and they saw what was around and what was happening and what was being built, and going to the games and the fans, they fell in love with the place just as quick as I did.
You got the MVP tomorrow night, a true chance to let your hair down and really celebrate?
Well, yeah, I mean, I mentioned again this morning, this has kind of been a blur the last 4 weeks. It's just kind of been a blur, and I definitely need to take some time and step away from that. It's probably more when I get home and sit by the pool and relax. But for right now, it's been a blur, and we're on to the next thing this week and the next thing next week before I leave. And tomorrow will be a great celebration of the entire office and everyone that's done this work. And it's an exciting time for us, but I definitely need to step away and really realize what has transpired here.
Stepping into free agency, how keen are you to see this same team run it back into next season?
Well, we have our core guys back, which was hugely important to me. Obviously, the locals, I think, are, to me, the driving force of all the franchises here. When you have a strong local group that's continually together, and then you're adding your imports around there, and we'll start to talk with our imports next week and get more serious about that. We just finished just yesterday our exit meetings and see where we're at financial stuff. And the reality is, players, just like coaches, are moving and going and seeking other things, and we hope to keep a couple of these guys around. And if they move on, it's really congratulations, and we've done our job really to make them more money somewhere else or more opportunities somewhere else, and that's not a bad thing. It might hurt us just from being passionate about having them here, but really at the end of the day this is sports, and if they choose to move on, they move on.
Can Jock come back anyway? I know he's turning 25 today or whatever.
There's some scenarios at the end of the season here. I mean, at the end of this winter break for them that he could come in as a training type of player for us. I anticipate him being picked up. Obviously he's done very well, his size, and he's skilled, and he was in a tough situation with just the group that we have to not try to get him onto the roster, and he's a little bit older as a developmental player too, so I anticipate him being picked up. We're supporting him 100% and however it plays out.
Is Sean, you committed to bring Sean back, or is he?
Sean, I think, is very close in the next day or two of announcing that we've got him signed for the next year as a development player, and he'll be up in the Northwest, which we are definitely monitoring very heavily with our 4 guys that'll be up there. And so we're excited to probably have him back on board also.
Is it your preference to have the 3 import guys back?
My preference is what they're comfortable with, and my preference is, and I know I'm kind of being evasive to you, but it is a business, and I can say yes, they've been all great. I'd love to have them all back, but the reality is money talks, where they're at in their lives talk, what they're looking for down the road talks, and we'll try to be as accommodating as we can to make them come back here. But there's also other opportunities for them, and let's don't fool ourselves. Josh Adams has played very well. He's taken a pay cut to come here the first time, and if he chooses not to come back the second time, again, we've done our job to make these guys better players, better people, send them out, make more money. You have a short window of time in your lifetime to do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I know people get attached to them, and I've been on that side of it. But you have to do what's right and what's comfortable for you. So we'll just see how this plays out in the next week or two.
Are you committed to bringing 3 imports back, or given some of the names in free agency, would you consider having just 2?
We're definitely going through the names as we speak right now and trying to figure out that. There's obviously possibilities of having 2 and 1 more Australian in. But we just literally have just got done with these exit interviews. And again, this has been a whirlwind of 4 weeks, and at some point we need to take a breath and just step away from this and relax for a few weeks or a few days. And we have time, and we'll just process it.
Are you expecting heightened interest from outside the tent from players around Australia and the world to come to Tasmania after seeing what you guys accomplished in year 1?
Yes, I think it's going to be a much easier sell. I think from all the things I've received in the last 3 or 4 weeks from many NBA friends of mine that are working in the NBA as coaches or in the front office, they followed us, and I know if they're following us, other agents are following us, and it's easier to sell. There's actually something here now that they can visibly see, and I think it'll be a little bit more attractive and a little bit easier to entice people to come here.
You're going to miss home so much. It's pretty impressive that you're hanging around to go to the North and Northwest next week. Tell us about that and why you thought that was important to do before you went home.
Well, I think we kept getting extended here with obviously winning and playing, but I think it's hugely important that we continue the bloodlines, we continue to connect the state. I need to be visible wherever I can be to make sure that, again, we woke a sleeping giant. I want to keep it awake, and I want to keep people interested in basketball, and showing up and supporting the Tornadoes when I go there and going up to the Northwest Thunder is part of my job and what I'm passionate about, and connecting this state from top to bottom. and that's a driving force for me from day one, and it'll continue to be, and that's why I'm going there next week.
And do you feel the pressure now, obviously, with new contracts signed and sealed and what you've done this year, to back it up again next year and the year after that, I guess?
I don't think there's really any pressure. I think obviously for me it's more about complacency and making sure that we're not satisfied at where we're at. The wins and losses will take care of themselves. I've always said that. To me, it's finding something that's sustainable long term. Hopefully it leads to more winning and more of this that we've had. It might not. But more importantly, are we going through the process to make sure that this place is solid and on great footing for years to come, not just a one-hit wonder and then we're done, that we're doing the right things year in and year out. And I truly believe if we are, we'll win enough games and we'll make this place what it should be, which is a basketball kind of heaven, in my opinion.
Have you had time to sit down yet and reflect on how successful the season was?
No. Yeah, no.
When will
That's
that
why I
be?
just, when I'm by the pool with a margarita and a cigar back in Florida somewhere, because, like I said, it's been a whirlwind. It's been 4 straight weeks, and this has just been a blur. And I haven't had a chance to step back and reflect. You know, in my mind, we're playing Brisbane next week, or it just hasn't stopped. And I think all of us in general, staff and everyone, has just been working overtime, the front office, and more games played than they thought there would be, and set up and tear down, and my staff, it's been a whirlwind.